Good afternoon, everyone. Happy hump day to you on this Wednesday, August 20th, 2025. Got all your stories for your rush hour ride home, and we have a lot to talk about. Buckle up. We're going to discuss Laura Owens. A new Daily Mail article came out, and we've also got a interesting clip to play from Rich Lieberman, who is a former, I guess, friend of the Owens family, offering some insight as he is now very upset. I guess he appears to be lied to by the Owens family after really trying to do his best to provide objective coverage, which we know everything about that. So we'll get into that. I was going to cover Candace Owens, but I think we're going to have to push that story back a day because we actually have so much to get into right now. Late breaking news we'll be covering. I'm still working a lot of it out on the Patreon. As you guys know, Patreon live stream watches as we put this content together. And let me just say, we are covered for the rest of the week. We have so much that's breaking. Of course, you guys know I'm a key, some say star witness in the Laura Owens versus a state of Arizona trial. Well, I'm going to reshare some old body cam footage of Laura's mom, I guess, telling the police that I'm the bad guy. Now, why is this important? Because she's saying that to Rich too. Now, I don't need to step in and sue anybody. We know where the truth is. But anyone who wants to privately sort of smear our name, and I say our because collectively our community, we're all in this together, we're just not going to let that happen. So we'll get into that. Plus, these Texas representatives are being told if they do not sign a permission slip, they are not allowed to leave the building. And now they're ripping up these permission slips. And I guess they're now living at this Texas, I don't know what it is, the courthouse or whatever. So we'll get into that. Again, so much to talk about. Plus, Justin Baldoni. Yes, we have an update as one of the legal sleuths of the mommy variety is now saying that they've seen the evidence that Isabel Ferrer, who the hell knows, Isabel F., has been provided that she received subpoena via email by Blake Lively and is, I guess, dodging subpoena from Justin Baldoni. So, again, not looking good for their side. What are you hiding? All this and more starts right now on The Rush. We have to begin with a very sensitive story. It's been a week since baby Emmanuel has gone missing in this case where a lady claimed that the baby was kidnapped. Well, we have updates. It's definitely not looking good.
Breaking new developments in another disturbing local case now making national headlines. Where is baby Emmanuel? On Thursday, it'll be a week since the child's mother claimed she was attacked in a parking lot while changing his diaper and her child was stolen. However, over the weekend, investigators began to say there were inconsistencies in her story. And tonight, we're learning the vehicle belonging to the child's father, Jake Haro, was seized by San Bernardino County investigators in connection with this case. His attorney issuing a statement tonight saying Jake Haro is fully cooperating with law enforcement and investigators.
And of course, this guy, there's, reports coming in that he's abused his own children in the past. I don't have any of this verified, but there's people talking that they worked with him and bad news. And of course, this lady, she's got like a black eye when she tells her story. It is beyond tragic.
All of this happening tonight as a big fire broke out at a home on the same block as the one where the Haros live. At this point, investigators say there's nothing to connect it to the missing child, and the location just appears to be a coincidence. But CAL FIRE arson investigations are working that scene.
Will they find any accelerant? Was there any linking between this house and the other? It's odd. It's a very odd story. And, we're not really heavy on the conspiracies here, but clearly there's some form of foul play happening. My guess is the baby's dead. I don't know. It would be an absolute miracle if that's not what happened, but we will cover it. Questions now. The attorney says parents are begging for the public to help find the missing son, so they're doubling down.
And Jake stopped cooperating with the police if they're desperate to find the baby and the police are looking for the baby.
I don't know where the statement that they stopped cooperating came from, Ashley. I spoke to the detectives yesterday, offered for Jake to continue to speak with them, have not been made aware of any requests today to speak with Jake. I don't represent Rebecca. That needs to be very clear, but I have not been asked to produce Jake. I offered to produce Jake. They voluntarily turned over all of their electronic devices including the passwords. I think that's something that's huge that nobody has been made aware of.
Let me just stop you for 1 second. I don't want to interrupt you, but you just said you don't know where the statement came from, Mr. Hughes. I'm going to read you the statement the police sent to us. Investigators interviewed multiple individuals, including Emmanuel's parents, Jake and Rebecca Harrow. During those interviews, Rebecca was confronted with inconsistencies in her initial statement and declined to continue with the interview. So the statement came.
And by the way, I understand if, some traumatic situation, you go, you know what, this interview is going sideways. I want my lawyer here. I understand all of that. It's going to be one of those scenarios where we're not going to get down to the truth till we get it. And we'll cover the story as it breaks. I mean, if there's a scenario where she was truly mugged and her baby stolen, that also is horrifying. It just isn't lining up. All right, we'll more on that later. Dave Koulier cut it out. My elder millennials know Dave Koulier. Uncle Joey, who again, I don't think was an actual uncle. He was friends with Uncle Jesse. They all lived together with Bob Saget, who was, what was his name? Danny Tanner in the Full House. And Dave Koulier got sick with cancer, and he's, I believe, on the mend. Here's what he has to say.
Through cancer. She was unbelievable. I mean, she took care of me around the clock, went to every chemotherapy.
Speaking of his wife.
6 hours of sitting there, driving me to doctor appointments, making sure my nutrition was good. She even made me one of those old man pill cases, the plastic ones, with the pills are all labeled.
Tuesday, Wednesday.
Yeah, so she would mark things on the calendar, and when I would have leg cramps, she was rubbing my legs, and I saw the effect it was having on her. Yeah. I knew I was getting drained going through this process, but I could see how it was affecting her, and that I think it's harder for the people around you than it is, for you, because you're trying to power through it, and you can't kind of propel that other person. They're going through it on a similar but different path, and that's what really stuck with me was how incredible she was through this entire journey. Something that we didn't foresee, when you're done when your sixth chemo treatment, you're going to be fine. You're going to walk away and it's going to be gone. And then I got really sick, and we didn't know what it was, and ended up in basically ICU for 5 days trying to figure out what this was, and so that was kind of the end of the journey, was the toughest.
Yeah, and then you have the inner circle of you have your John Stamos friends, you have your friends in Detroit. How important is that?
Well, it's incredibly important, and you realize that these people are phenomenal when they're so willing to give you warmth and love. And John Stamos and Jeff Franklin, who created Full House, they flew into Michigan together, and then John stayed with us for a week.
So just so good to see the real life friendships that came from this work family. Again, if you're relatively near my age, you grew up with these folks, and good to hear Dave Koulier share the recovery and the support that he's received. We love to see that. All right, well, coming up next, I've got updates from the Laura Owens trial. It's a big one. This news, Daily Mail is one of the biggest news organizations in the world, and they are not shy in their reporting of Laura Owens. We'll have this for you next. Today's episode of the Rush Hour Podcast is sponsored by Tropical Smoothie Cafe, one of my favorites. Ooh, are they delicious. Start your day with a protein-packed breakfast from Tropical Smoothie Cafe. Oh, you thought they only had delicious smoothie options? You're mistaken. Pair that smoothie with a toasted breakfast wrap, order ahead online, and earn rewards with the Tropical Smoothie Cafe app. Like to customize things? Add more good vibes to your smoothie. Fresh add-ins like almonds, spinach and kale, chia seeds, or supplements like protein and Energizer. My favorite smoothie is the Peanut Paradise, chock full of 22 grams of protein. My wife loves the mixed berry Greek yogurt bowl topped with fresh strawberries and blueberries, which comes with a whopping 26 grams of protein. Make every day a getaway with our bold flavors and better-for-you pairings only at Tropical Smoothie Cafe. Tropical Smoothie Cafe, you're on Tropic Time now. Now back to the show. Ailing radio star declares bankruptcy after daughter lied that fling with Bachelor star had gotten her pregnant. Boy, that's a mouthful, and we know a thing or two about a mouthful here after this story we've been covering for 2 years now. Of course, star witness. Well, we reported several days ago, Ron Owens, the father of Laura Owens, has $500,000 in liabilities, owes more than 40 banks, credit card companies. And why is this important? It's important because he was just raising money. I mean, still is $130,000 in his GoFundMe, and people are pissed off. People are pissed off that the guy was making over $1 million a year, squandered it all. His daughter's getting charged with 7 felonies. Folks aren't happy with the fact that some people might be getting duped. Speaking of which, and again, I'm not saying Rich got duped here, but Rich Lieberman is a mainstay in the world of San Francisco gossip, all of the sort of beat of things that is happening there, and was a fan and friend of Ron Owens back in the day. You know what happened when we started covering this case of Laura Owens, I didn't know anything about Ron Owens. I've only been to San Francisco once or twice. I have nothing, a lovely place, good Chinese food when I was there. But we got a lot of information from Rich's blog that he had a falling out with Ron over, basically how their relationship ended with terrestrial radio. Ron was in the Hall of Fame. And again, maybe I'll be able to chat with Rich where I can get more information about his sort of demise. But you're talking about a colossal demise of a beloved figure in San Francisco. The world has changed now, right? People listen to whatever podcast they listen to, but back in the day, you tuned into that radio station, they took you to work. If you worked some blue collar job, that radio station played all day long, and you really got to feel like you knew these people. You trusted them with the news, you trusted them with opinions, things like that. Ron Owens, I think he interviewed Barack Obama. Like, the guy was a big dog there. Well, Rich Lieberman is now disgusted. His words, not mine. Disgusted at, he says, I don't like being used. That was an interesting quote I wrote down. I don't like being used. Feels as though in his attempt to get down to the truth with Ron and Ron's wife, Jan Black, that he has been lied to. Now, Jan Black is no stranger. She may be the marionette artist behind this puppetry. How's that for a visual? When it comes to what went down, Jan Black, the mom of Laura Owens and wife to Ron Owens, I don't know why she didn't take his last name. Not going to judge her. My wife didn't take my last name. I get it. Who wants to be associated with a YouTuber? I understand. But either way, Rich Lieberman shares what Jan Black is saying about us. Now, just to catch you up, we dug through all the information. We really helped architect a community that came together to sift through thousands of pages of documents, court documents, evidence. Folks scoured the internet to find Laura lying about certain ultrasounds, faking others, faking medical fraudulent documents, raising money to get forensics looked at. We did it all. Brick by brick, we did it all. We take our victory laps, we did it all. There will be collateral damage of audience members possibly mocking Laura Owens throughout this process, and I understand the sensitivity towards that, but you can't control the collateral damage that might exist with the internet being the internet when our job is to provide the truth and stop the fraud. And we've done just that. We've stopped the fraud to the extent that Laura Owens is being charged with 7 felonies. Now, Rich has, kind of taken a back seat to some of that, but like other people, our good pal Omar, really anybody who's covered the case, like anyone else who's heard from Laura's side first, they think I'm a dang monster. We actually have people that have since apologized to us that are now members of our community, people that worked with Ron Owens. We're talking, we have 1 degree of separation of many people. We have people that were friends with Laura Owens. Like first name basis, call you, here you are. We have people from all aspects saying, we looked into it, Dave. You've exposed this for what it is. And they thought I was the bad one until they Googled me, saw the evidence, and realized, oh, we're on the right side of the story. I say all of that because we give people like Rich grace to sort of come to his conclusions, dig through it, and meet us at the finish line because we know we've already gotten there that Laura is a fraudster. Well, Rich is still being told by Jan Black that I'm the bad guy. Have a listen to this.
And Jan, all your ranting and lecturing me and telling me on the phone in so many words, Rich, it's all those people, the Dave Neals, the Laurens of the world, the Ninja Turtles and Ninja Turtles of the world who are trying to make something out of nothing.
The Ninja Turtles? Donatello? Splinter comes out. It is me, Splinter. I am here. Okay, it's a rat.
They're just looking for money. They're trying to support The Bachelor.
And by the way, as you'll see from the thumbnail of this video you're watching, it ain't about money. Our driving force is Blake Lively content. We talk Candace Owens. As far as it goes, like this is a tertiary, this is a ninth batter in the lineup kind of story. It's really more of a personal piece, really. It's not about the money. Now, I have told Laura Owens, I make money covering this stuff. If you want to keep lying, if you want to keep trying to call the FBI on me, if you want to keep effing with the truth, you're going to lose this one. You're in the quicksand. We are on a fortress. She's tried to copyright claim me. She's tried to have my YouTube taken down. She's tried to serve me, a harassment lawsuit. No. We are protected by our First Amendment rights here. And the judge has ruled that. So this idea that we're just trying to do this for the money, no, this isn't the breadwinner. But regardless, me making money or not covering a fraud case is irrelevant to the actual truth.
Other men, they want to make money. And I was standing there and looking and saying to myself, well, maybe Ron and Jan and a few others, maybe they're telling a point. Maybe they're telling something that exists. And I believe them. I said here, why wouldn't I believe them?
Why not?
And now you have the subsequent quote by Jan about the GoFundMe money, the Chapter 13 bankruptcy.
So he's pissed, and he goes on. And it's, well done. This is where Rich is in his element, which is stream of conscious thought, when he gets riled up, when he's speaking right to the camera. I love it. In fact, I think every content creator who's putting content out is entitled to receive money for the work, right? It's an exchange, your time, advertisers, he gets paid a couple bucks. Rich is at 933 subscribers. You cannot get monetized until you have 4,000 watch hours and 1,000 subscribers. So I would just ask my audience, if we could get Rich to over 1,000 subscribers, I think that would just be a nice charitable thing to help him get financed with his YouTube channel. I don't care how or when he came to the conclusions that he's coming to. I think he's an interesting voice. I think it's different than a lot of people, the way they cover it. And I personally would like to see Rich, and I would like to use my platform to see Rich make a couple bucks sharing his opinion. If it gets more of Rich on the screen, I say so be it. So anyway, if you're a fan of mine, give him a like, just watch his video, check it out, and we'll have to keep track as we cover the trial what he has to say. He is the closest source to Ron Owens that's covering this, and I think that's really interesting. So as far as Jan Black talking mad trash about me, here is body cam footage. And by the way, I wouldn't be surprised if there's more of this to come, but here's body cam footage, nearly 2 years old, of Jan Black running her mouth, yapping to the Scottsdale police about me. The reason the Scottsdale police are even there in the first place is because Laura threatened to harm herself over my coverage. Now, if my coverage was sensational and didn't lead to the truth, she would have never gotten charged with the crime she's charged with. She's facing 20-something years in prison, all because of lies she told. And we are facing 0 prison time because we're here exposing it. So watch this footage of Jan Black accused me of being the crazy person.
So the information we got was that you submitted something to the FBI. It didn't say whether you talked to somebody on the phone or electronically, like made an online complaint.
Yeah.
They said something you said was borderline suicidal.
So she said she was borderline suicidal. So I didn't do it. Somebody called in a wellness check. Now notice the dog in the background. He's going to pee on the wall. That's just a fun thing you can watch.
Right. That was from the guy, but that was also from...
So the FBI called us to come check on you to make sure you're okay and you're not going to hurt yourself.
Yeah. No, that was like...
So were you talking about whatever you said, were you talking about yourself or some other situation?
Yeah, but it was like from a couple months ago.
So so Laura's she's falling apart here. She doesn't have her story right. She's stammering. So then she tag teams her mom and says, "Hey, mom, help me out." And then the mom comes in ready to fire.
She was saying she's been targeted, like she's had a horrible situation with cyber harassment from an ex-boyfriend and from another guy who is obsessed with her.
Yeah.
That's me. I'm the one obsessed with her.
And he's made like 50 videos of me on YouTube.
He's made 50 videos of her. Honey, it's at like 300 at this point. This was the early days.
Yeah, she has simply asked him to stop. She's filed a cease and desist, asking him to stop.
And then she of course also asked the state of California to intervene. She tried to get a restraining order on me. It was denied. Now, of course, at this point, we had never even mentioned her by name or image. We called her Jane Doe. We tried everything in our book for 9 months, actually for almost a year, until June 10th, 2024, until she was actually recommended for investigation by the family court. We did everything. Things we didn't have to do legally. We did everything to try to protect her.
And they're not. They haven't stopped, and so she thought that it needs to go to some kind of a cyber crimes unit,
right.
And she had said in there that the harassment.
I can say it. I had told the guy specifically that like creating these daily videos about me had made me feel borderline suicidal. I was like last month. I messaged him and he continued to make videos about me, but I'm fine.
He's made this guy has made like 40.
It's made 50. It's 50. Yes.
Is there an online counter? Do they have a ticker? Is it like you're at your 1,000th video? I mean, look, this is what we do. We cover the story, and what they're negating to share is all of. At this point, she has submitted medical fraud to me. That's what she has done. Now, I'm a fair guy. She claims to be pregnant when this is happening. She wasn't, of course. They've investigated her. They've raided her home. I mean, do you understand the burden of proof, the sort of high threshold of evidence you need to have to do all of these things? I'm not some dark, sinister architect who's conspiring with people to plant evidence. I'm several time zones away calling bullshit.
Yeah, I mean, it's insane.
So somebody at the FBI actually saw your complaint today.
So they're saying it's insane. I agree. I think it's insane. I think it's gone too far. I've pled for this to stop. I've got a dozen plus case samples of videos where I tell people, take it easy on her. We're dealing with a situation. We're dealing with a screw that is loose. It's like IKEA furniture when you put it together and there's like 3 bolts left and you're like, structurally speaking, I don't know if we're all there. That's what I feel like. I feel like we're dealing with you get the point. So that's where it's at. Well, we've also got our Blake Lively story. Here's our Blake Lively story of the day. Am I obsessed with Blake Lively because I cover this too? Give the people what you want. Proof Isabel Ferrer accepted Blake Lively subpoena. So I'm going to get into this. But first, I have to tell you guys, there is more to come on this story. There is more to come on this story as Laura continues to weaponize, I think, humanity. I think she's weaponizing humanity. She's weaponizing people that are good-natured people, and she's hiding behind this like compassion that audiences have for people. It's just she's on the wrong side of the story. She's been exposed. She is the Wizard of Oz. We went behind the curtain. We saw how she pulls the strings, and it ain't cutting it anymore. And now we don't have to be in the driver's seat. Now we've got the state of Arizona doing all the work. We're just a star witness. All right, here it is. Isabel Ferrer did receive her subpoena in the mail, in an email from Blake Lively. Now, why is this important? This Blake Lively story is so important because you've got Isabel essentially dodging the subpoena from Justin Baldoni. He tried to email it to her lawyer. They denied it. Like, she wanted nothing to do with it, but she was so quick, I guess, to receive a subpoena from Blake Lively. That's just not how it works in the court system. You got to be fair. If you want to give one side information, the other side's entitled to that information. Have a listen.
The certificate of service that shows that Isabella Ferrer did have her lawyer accept the subpoena from Blake Lively via email.
Now, I don't know if this TikTok was recorded in a helicopter, but it sounds horrible. But we love this TikToker. It's just the audio's brutal. So there is a receipt that Isabella received service of the subpoena through email. Now, these paper trails are important. It's important to have these paper trails because you need to know that someone got the information so they can't play dumb and go, oh, I never saw that. No, we asked you what your name was. It's like if I was to get subpoenas right now, I'd open the door and they say, are you Dave Neal? I'd say, that's right, star witness. And they would say, you've been served. And they would give me the subpoena. Hey, have a nice day. And it'll be over. That would be it. When Laura Owens tried to send me a subpoena for her restraining order, it never went through because it was denied by the judge, but she had paid for an express person to come find me. So it's not too hard to find somebody if they're not trying to dodge the subpoena, right? Especially if you're emailing it to their lawyers. So why, and this is the question we're asking, why did Isabella decline to receive the subpoena through her lawyers with Baldoni when she was perfectly okay receiving it through Blake Lively's subpoena? Isabella has been spotted out to dinner with Blake. Is there, them trying to get their story right? Nobody really knows, but I'm telling you right now, there's several aspects of this case that are so interesting just because they don't add up. It doesn't add up. Isabella worked on this film. So she's denying the subpoena from her boss. She's completely changing the tune of her story after previously saying the work environment was great. I loved it. And then folks say, well, anyone would say that to their boss. Yeah, no, I love working with you. You're creep. Everyone. Yeah. Well, why did she go out of her way in interviews to support Justin Baldoni, and how has that changed? Just several months ago, as we shared this morning, Isabella was basically saying the work environment was great. And then all of a sudden, when it was time to, take a stance, she said, oh, I don't want to vouch for Blake Lively. I wasn't there. She played young Blake. So there was literally never a day where she was supposed to be there with Blake. Yet Blake took her under her wing, made her little girlfriend, and, whatever. And folks have said, well, what if Baldoni did this to his young Atlas? Wouldn't that be weird if Baldoni, like a grown man, became friends with the younger person? And I don't care, ladies, be friends with whoever the hell you want. Isabella's mid-20s, right? She's perfectly normal. She can rent her own car. She's, whatever. She's old. She can run for Congress, but not president. You have to be 35 to run for president. Either way, I digress. The point is, it doesn't add up. It doesn't make sense. And this is the type of thing that makes you interested to keep digging further.
So Blake Lively subpoenaed her on February 25. And then on February 26, they sent it via email to be received by her counsel. The same guy who's making a big stink, claiming that Wayfarer didn't do due diligence after trying 2 different addresses and them asking if they would accept the service and him being unresponsive.
Now, Justin Baldoni's side says we don't need to share where we tried to find her, but it wasn't out of thin air. Their words, it wasn't out of thin air. So again, it's interesting. We don't have answers, but this is the type of thing. It's like if you're a masseuse and you feel you press on someone's muscle and they go, ooh, it's like, well, that's where we need a massage. We need to massage into that tension. We need to massage into the tension of Isabella and Blake. What are they missing? I'm telling you right now, if they deleted any information and they're able to find that, because you delete something off your phone, it doesn't disappear. There's records. So did Blake and Isabella clean up the crime scene? And if so, this is a tough look for Isabella anyway, because she's not successful. Whenever she played the young version of Blake. She's not the star of the movie. She's the, she shot for 4 days, several good scenes, but it's like she's replaceable, and most people are. And I'm not saying this has any threats to Isabella because, I wish her well. But boy, this is bad for your career. And what she should have done was accept the subpoena from both sides, tell the dang truth, and stay out of it. And who knows, maybe she'd be working on many more Wayfarer projects. It's hilarious because there's sort of an ongoing movement where people want Taylor Swift to cast Justin Baldoni in her upcoming music video. So people are picking sides. For sure. But where this goes, it is nobody's game. Look, we're flat out of time. I didn't get to the Texas stuff. So we'll have to cover that tomorrow morning. We'll continue to cover the Texas story. We're just flat out of time. So we'll be back in the morning. I have late breaking news. I'll be performing in St. Louis this weekend. If you want to know where, go to rushhourwithdave.com. I'll be in St. Louis Thursday to Saturday at, I'll tell you right now, the Westport Funny Bone. I'm just featuring. I'm not headlining, but I'll be doing a nice long set, and I can meet some of you guys out there. So I'll be serving laughs, not subpoenas, just serving laughs, hopefully. We'll see you then. All right, talk to you in the morning. I'm Dave. This is The Rush.